You're listening to the Big Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex45, and what a weekend! I'm ecstatic, excited. A lot of traveling, which I don't know. That's not the fun part of being a part of the show, I guess. Traveling, but I know some people will wish to be in my shoes, so I'm not complaining. It's just it's a lot of work to make this thing work for you guys and bring all this content that we're doing, especially now going to MotoAmerica rounds and all that fun stuff. So very excited about that. We got a really big show tonight because we had World Superbike, MotoGP, MotoAmerica. We had club racing going on as well, and all type of craziness. And so this show is going to be all over the place because we got to talk about one of the big things up front once we get into the show. But let me do this before I introduce the guys. Like we always do, I want to thank the listeners, the subscribers, all the folks that are engaging and commenting and all that fun stuff, that are seeing us at these events and saying what's up. We can't thank you enough. And so definitely go to the website, become a member by signing up on the website. It costs you $1, and you can get some really cool stuff. We got some really cool things planned down the line as well to give the folks that are subscribers on our Patreon some cool insights. You never know. You might even get to come on the show and chop it up with Lewis or Reese or TJ. Anything is possible, to quote the great Kevin Garnett. So also, go to Woodcraft Technology, and mention Rexy or Be Forever Cool. Got the QR code right there. That also will get you some cool parts. They got some new clip-ons. They got rear sets. If you're in racing or street riding and you like to go fast and have your knees up to your chest, you need some Woodcraft parts. Also, Pirelli tire. I know Reese can't talk about Pirelli yet, but we're gonna get him some Pirelli tires for his street bike. We'll just put like a D on the side of it or something like that, so he doesn't get anything like that. But check out my guy Mark 10 at Mark 10 Motorsports and get the hookup. My name is X45. Let's get this thing going. TJ, man, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. Can't complain. We had a good weekend with racing. It was hectic, but all serious race that we watched, and there's so much on, and I was ready to watch it. But I had a fun-filled weekend myself. Went to a graduation on a Saturday, and then on Sunday did a ride for the wounded veterans. So that was a eventful day, long day of riding. So try to get racing and watching while that was going on. So it was a long but good weekend.
Nice. And how are you gotten over the fact that the Celtics are no longer in the playoffs and the playoffs are looking the way they're looking?
Oh yeah, that's all behind me. Ain't got no teams, and the Bruins lost, Patriots lost, Celtics lost. So it's bike season now.
Well, the weather's good and there's motorcycles, so there you go.
That's right.
It doesn't get too bad, worse than that. Lewis, man, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Interesting weekend. Good seeing you out at the track. It's always good to run into you. I always have a good time when we meet up at the track. Good seeing Reese out there. We're just missing one member of the crew that didn't make it out to Barber, but at some point, all four of us will be at the same spot at the same time.
You know what I'm saying? At some point,
we just, the moons have to align. But all in all, it was a great weekend. We had a successful weekend for the most part. We'll talk about the unsuccessful part in a bit.
Yeah,
and we'll also talk about the successful part. This was an exciting weekend for a lot of the people that I support here in the U.S. and a lot of the people that we support around the world. So it was good overall.
Yeah, man, it's some of those weekends that I was up early, I was up late trying to catch races, I was out there trying to shoot. It's a whole different animal, but it was a great time the whole weekend, and yeah, a lot of craziness. But with no further ado, let's get the last guy in here. There we go. Nope, not there. At some point, there. 1, 2, 3. There we go. It got to be somebody's birthday for all these technical difficulties. What's going on, man? Happy birthday, man.
I appreciate it, man. Sucks to be back to work, regular work, but like Lewis said, it was great to see all you guys out there this weekend. It was a hot weekend, but it was a great weekend for me. So
Yeah, I felt on Saturday I might got a little heat stroke. I'm not gonna lie. It's a different animal when I'm not comparing myself to the pros riding and stuff like that. But when you only have to focus on your race, and when the schedule is, you don't have to do anything else. You can stay cool. When you're out here
right.
checking else, you in the heat, man.
I mean, like for me, always being by the tire oven, checking out, doing the tires, and you got 4 tires cooking at 100 degrees, and rear tires at 90. It gets pretty hot in there, man. So it's not easy, but someone's got to do the job, right?
Yeah, listen, man. Somebody got to do the job. I posted that early Saturday or Sunday. It's like somebody once told me if it was easy, everybody would do it. And anytime I don't feel like doing something, I kind of pull that from the memory bank and say, boy, you better get out there and do that. Stop playing. Guys, what's going on? Let's go around the horn and kind of talk about the weekend as a whole. And we'll probably get into the crashes after, but let's talk about you, TJ. What did you watch? What did you take from the weekend?
I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, World Superbike is kind of the last thing to watch because Fulica is basically running away with everything. But wanted to see MotoGP and see how they would do at Catalonia, and since Mark was out, just to see who would shake in and get to the top. And obviously, we had MotoAmerica going on, so it's kind of back and forth in all of them. So it's very eventful. Yeah, all the crashes were not good. So, but I mean, there's a lot going on in MotoGP, especially with the red flags and stuff. So there's a lot of strategy going on. So it was an eventful weekend.
Yeah, I think the strategy is not get hurt.
Yeah,
For real.
just try to come back after all that going on and still go out and focus and try to win is just a lot. So
Yeah, no doubt. What are your thoughts, Reese, man? I mean, I know you were working, so I don't know how much of MotoGP and World Superbike you were able to get away from. So, is it all Moto America for you, or were you able to get a little bit of MotoGP in?
Nah, I caught MotoGP in the morning. You wake up in the morning when we got to be at the track at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm watching it on the way to the track. So I did catch it. I seen the red flags. I mean, the crash with Alex, that was brutal. I'm glad that he's okay. The crash with Acosta at the end, that was with Algora and Acosta. Thank God that didn't cause any nonsense, but that wasn't that bad. The second crash with Zarco, that wasn't as bad as Marquez, but that still was bad. So, I mean, overall, it was a shit show. I mean, just say for where, but I mean, it was still good racing. Had some. I'm surprised to see Digi, still get hurt and still put it on the top. So
yeah, we'll talk about where his finish ranked, because I think he rode out there with just one arm. Lewis, man, what are your thoughts of the weekend, man?
Oh man, this is the weekend of the most carnage. This was that I've ever seen. I mean, we had all 3 series that we follow on at the same time. So we had MotoAmerica, we had World Superbike, we had MotoGP. MotoGP was at a carnage racetrack. People know that racetrack is designed for maximum carnage, not maximum speed. We had MotoAmerica at Barber, which typically it's got a decent amount of crashes, but not the carnage that we saw this weekend. And then we had World Superbike, that typically is the series that has the most carnage, and they still had some carnage, but compared to the other 2 series this weekend, they had the least amount of carnage while still having a decent amount of carnage. So right. It was an interesting weekend for corner workers and medical staff, and I tip my hat to them, because with as many crashes that we saw this weekend and as many horrific things that we saw this weekend, so far, it looks like none of the riders are going to suffer any long-term, hopefully, ill effects. Watching Alex Marquez walk out of a hospital was an amazing thing to see. Seeing some of the updates from like MotoAmerica riders that had horrific crashes, seeing them updates on their Instagram and social media that they're doing well. Even Danilo Petrucci kind of reaching out. He's not in great shape, but it looks like he's going to be fine. I tip my hat, man, to corner workers, to emergency medical services, to the Road Racing World Action Fund, to Air Fence, to everything that goes into keeping these people safe, man. We talk about it internally here where I work on almost every meeting. At some point in every product meeting, we always go back to our number one job, and the reason we wake up is to save lives.
Right.
Like, none of us are here to become millionaires. Like, we're here to develop products and work with what's out there and develop new technologies to save lives. Our entire job revolves around making sure moms and dads get home to their kids, and kids get home to their moms and dads, husbands get home to their wives, and wives get home to their husbands.
Yeah,
so
no doubt. Yeah, so yeah, let's dive into that further, for sure. Petrucci got in an accident. Batista got in an accident, as you mentioned. We got Alex Marquez, we got Digia, we got Zarco. In MotoAmerica, there was, you got Kevin Horney. You got Ella, you got all these folks. So let's talk about this weekend, because we were talking before the show started, and let's just talk about for people who don't watch or follow motorcycle racing. I mean, this is one of the, if you're a first timer and you're watching motorcycle racing, MotoGP, World Superbike, MotoAmerica, whether at the track or on television, and this is one of the this is not the best weekend for anyone to go watch MotoAmerica, any of the sport at this point, with all the carnage that happened. So what do you tell folks that are just getting into racing and they see this weekend? Is it something that you can convince people that this is an anomaly? Start with TJ.
Yeah, I mean, this is, we see accidents all the time, but this is an unfortunate weekend. Racing is tough and takes a lot of focus. And at this point of the year, I mean, we had a few rounds. So, the first few rounds, you get your feel. And as it gets to this point, I feel like everyone's just, stepping up and trying to go a little harder just to see where they stand. And it's just unfortunate. It's just a good weekend with grip. And this is not what we usually see. So racing is much more safer. And obviously, with all the accidents, as Lewis was saying, that everyone came out safe and reported themselves, and it's a good thing that they're able to, move forward. Right. So,
yeah. I mean, Reese, man, what's the mindset like? You're closer than we are because you're dealing with the riders. We're at a distance. I mean, I know it when I race at club race, and we see it, and we have to get our mind right and stuff like that. But I'm like a slow tire to get my mind right. Versus, you got to be a blow up, because you got to forget what just happened and get back out there and go 100. So, what's the mindset like when you guys are seeing this and talking about this? And you're in MotoAmerica, but you guys still got the TV on, so you're hearing about World Superbike and MotoGP.
I mean, I tell, coming from the sports world, and I tell every rider the same thing my coaches used to tell me. What makes a great champion or a great athlete, a great anything, is one that has a short-term memory. You have an accident or something that goes wrong, put it on your head quick, fast, in a hurry, forget about it, especially the next day, and move on to the next, like nothing ever happened. It's hard when you see accidents like this, sometimes, because we all want to go home, we all want to go safe back home to our families, to our loved ones, and that's the name of the game. Like Lewis said, I mean, all the safety equipment that's involved, and that's why you paid this certain amount of money, or the for like leathers and boots and the equipment. That's why it costs that extra money, just so you know that you'll go back home. But I'll tell anyone, I mean, the kind of carnage that you saw this weekend, it's not the normal carnage. It's, we do have accidents, we see it, but this was one of the most rarest occasions of all.
Yeah, I agree. Lewis, man, I mean, what are your thoughts, man? And, you're right there too.
I mean, this was one of those, if it could go wrong, it will go wrong weekends, just all around, restarts, red flags, restarts after restarts. What people don't understand, especially with restarts, is the rider cools off, the tires cool off, the fuel load drops, the amount of laps drops. So now you go from a long format race to all of a sudden a sprint race. So now every lap has this extra urgency to it, which adds to the urgency on the track, which makes riders ride a little bit harder, maybe a little bit above the limit. Passes get a little bit tougher. And we saw that in Moto2. We saw that in MotoGP. We saw that even here in the US with some of the races that had to get restart. Those sprint racers became their own carnage because now, again, it's a shortened race. I don't have time to let my tires get hot again or this or that. And, my adrenaline went from 100% down to, 25%. And now I got to get it back to 100% again. So these stops and starts are not good for the riders. They're not good for the team. And they do cause carnage because when you don't have the original amount of laps and now you have this condensed sprint race, really, you have a condensed sprint race. Mm-hmm. The guy in 10th place is going to dive bomb 4, 5, 6 guys to try to get to 5th place or 4th place or whatever. And, it's great for the show, but it is dangerous. But again, this is why you have to look at what you have, what you're wearing, what your gear is, what the track layout is. You have to look at all the safety features that are out there. If this weekend happened 15 years ago, we'd have like 20, rest in peace or, posts going around right now because people would be wrecked.
Yeah.
I saw, that's what it would be.
Yeah, I saw. I don't remember which race it was. If it was a super sport, a guy went down. Another guy couldn't get out the way, ran him right over.
Yeah,
it was like I was just like, and I've been ran over before on a bike too, going down in front of somebody. So I know what that's like. But the tech is so much better today because again, everyone is for the most part is going to be okay. You know what I mean? And it's such a weird thing. You look at, I forget what's his name is that crash, but you look at Zarco's crash when he got stuck in the bike. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen often. And just to walk away with, so far it seems like it's ligament damage and stuff like that, but no broken bones. Is pretty impressive. And getting propelled from your bike flipping over.
Yeah, that hurt.
I look at the Marquez crash, the Alex Marquez crash. I think the only thing they saved on that bike was like the valve stem cover on the rear wheel because the rest of the bike was totaled. I mean, that thing did more flips than any gymnast in the Summer Olympics.
Yeah, bro.
You look at, the Zarco crash, those bikes were totaled. If you look at all the crashes that happened and how many people walked away, I mean, the fact that Alex Marquez walked away a day and a half later on his own power just goes to, again, the quality of the safety of the products that are out there today. And I also want to say a big up to MotoAmerica for making airbags mandatory this year across all the classes. Because if airbags weren't mandatory across all the classes, that super sport crash that we saw would probably not be as good as turn out as good as it was. I mean, the dude got speed bumped.
Right.
He literally got his chest run over by a bike and gave a thumbs up while he was on his way in the ambulance. I mean, this is the kind of stuff this is why we make these products. And anybody that's out there doing track days or even riding in the street, if you're not looking at these products as a real option for you for safety, you're missing out on an incredible amount of protection.
No, I agree. Go ahead.
Piggyback off that, I think it was her name, Ella. Yeah, she pretty much smacked dead into a bike and split the bike in half and went about 15 feet over the handlebars, and the crash was horrendous, but literally came out with just a broken tailbone.
All right. Yeah. Pretty crazy because we've seen worse. Enough of the crash and the crash. Let's talk about MotoGP. The reason why we show up, and some of you guys make a living from it. Let's talk about the qualifying. This is the first time KTM got a pole position. I don't know, and like forever. I don't think I had gray hair.
3 years.
Okay, maybe. It's only been 3. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 3 years. The last pole position was Pole Asparagus.
Yeah,
Alicia Asparagus.
Full
no,
asparagus.
no. It has to be Pole because it's KTM. Alicia's
Yeah.
yeah.
On
That's
the
what
Aprilia. Yeah,
yeah.
I think it was Pole Asparagus 3 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he's only been a test rider for 2 years. Okay, he's still getting that full contract money though, so I ain't mad at him. he's like I'm staying healthy, but pretty impressive for KTM. For Costa. Costa's been hungry all season. I mean, I think this year he's done a much better job at staying on the bike, but he's still riding like mare to the limit. So to see a guy where we thought it might have been I thought it might have been one of the pro years. To see KTM get the pole position, to see Morbidelli find his way. What are your thoughts, TJ, on Q2?
Hey,
Yeah,
quick
it's
correction. 2024, Pedro Acosta was the last pole position. So it's been 2 years since their last pole position.
Okay.
oh man, yeah, KTM started to look really good this weekend. I mean, it was good to see that the way Pedro's been riding that, you know, that he's able to get pole. Yeah, it was a fight. It was back and forth, like even before the qualifying, just the practice, just leading up to it. It was good to see Morbidelli up there that he hasn't been around talked about in a while. I mean, and I wanted to see the usuals like Jorge Martin and Bezzecchi, but they were for sure having some trouble. Those are prayers. But to see Pedro Costa up there, I was hoping that he get his first win. But a lot of things changed.
Well, a lot of things change, man. Reese, man, excuse me. What are your thoughts on Q2? Morbidelli, Alex Marquez, Fernandez. Fernandez was somebody I didn't think would have been up there because he's been kind of up and down since the beginning of the season. So it was good to see him and qualify fourth on the grid.
I was. I mean, when I got the chance to see Q2, I didn't get the chance to see like all of it, but the stuff that I did get to see, I mean, it was great to see Morbidelli up there. I mean, he's one of the rarest breeds I thought it would ever be up there. Costa really taking initiative and putting that bike up on pole. That was great. It was nice to see him, do well. Like TJ said, one day I would like to see him get his win. So I know it's coming. But it was good to see some non-usual suspects. It was good to see some new faces up there and actually see people doing a good job on this, taking advantage of where they can.
Take the mute off. I did say it was coming. These guys are going to start to figure out their situation there and start to chase some of these guys down. Lewis, man, I mean, we got two Yamahas and got the Q2, two KTMs in Q2. Not the usual Ducati suspect in Q2, but nonetheless, it's the most mix we've had of all the manufacturers.
Yeah, this is a mix of I don't know what the hell happened this weekend, man. I don't know how some of these guys ended up where they're at. I don't know if it's the carnage of people crashing or whatever, but one, it sucks because I didn't pick any of these people on my my betting board. So that screwed up my weekend again. Alex Marquez had been kind of disappeared since the first round in Europe. So I didn't expect him to do anything. Pedro Costa has been pretty consistently trying to battle up at the front. So I kind of knew he'd be there. The Gian Antonio, same thing. We've seen him be the most consistent Ducati rider this year. But Raul Fernandez is another one, pulled the, rabbit out of his ass. Like he had been nowhere for the last couple of races. It'd been a gura. And all of a sudden, did they put the wrong sticker on the wrong bike and he was riding a Gura's bike and they swapped? I don't know, dude. Sarko is another guy that's kind of been a little bit disappeared and he did well. I mean, there's a lot of guys that, Morbidelli, I stopped betting on him, man. I gave up on the dude. Yeah. the worst time I gave up on him, he finally pulls one out.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
But no, I love the mix, man, because I love, Ducati, KTM, Ducati, Aprilia, Honda. I love when all the manufacturers are in the mix.
Right.
You know, in the sprint, Yamaha wasn't really anywhere to be found, but in the actual race, after a bunch of people didn't finish, even Yamaha, was in the top 10. It only took 5 guys DNFing, but still they're in top 10. So good for them, man.
That's a tough DNF. Let's talk about the sprint. Yeah, I mean, Acosta. I mean, I feel bad for that dude because he really wants to win bad. But Alex Marquez was able to pull it out. Didier found his way. Raul found his way up for Zarco 5th. I mean, is it possible for Honda to be the second best bike on the grid by the end of the year? What are your thoughts, TJ, man, on the sprint race?
I mean, is it possible for Honda? Yeah, I think that, they're coming as long as they can finish. I mean, Luca Marini needs to step up a little bit, but Drum May look a lot better. But the sprint, I mean, Pedro was definitely fighting, trying to keep that pole position, keep himself out front. I did bet on Alex to win, I think, the GP this weekend, but unfortunately, he got into an accident. But he did really well, and he was trying to hold off. I mean, Pedro's trying to hold him off, but Alex got him at the last minute. But yeah, it just sucks for Pedro because you can see it right there, and I know we'll probably talk about it, but I think him and Digi is going to have something between each other because they keep battling out, and Digi's getting the upper hand, and it's not looking good for Pedro with that. It's leaving a sour taste in his mouth. So he needs to pull one out soon to redeem himself. And it's just when Alex took it from him, it was not heartbreaking, but it's just like, damn, let it slip.
I like what Didier did looking back. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that, we've heard this from former NBA players, people coming out of college, number 1, number 2, whatever, and they see somebody that's averaging 6 points and they think they're going to school them in practice and they get schooled. And it's just like, we're all pros at this level just because you got more, name recognition and whatever the case may be. Don't think I'm a bum. and that's what Didier was saying. I mean, it's like, look, man, I mean, he's a nice rider, but we're all nice too. So, and he's backing it up, which is what I love. I mean, Lewis, man, what are your thoughts, man? I mean, is it, is it going to continue to be like this, the mix up, or is it just Ducati's going to figure it out? Because, I didn't realize, I know I said Morbidelli was on a 24, but he's actually on a 25 bike apparently. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so they're starting to figure it out a little bit, but what are your thoughts on the sprint?
I mean, I enjoyed the sprint. I thought the sprint had all the sprints have a lot of action because they're sprint races. There's only so many laps. You can't really wait for your tires to drop off much. You can't really wait for the fuel load to go down because you're pretty much starting with a half fuel load anyway, just to try to keep the weight down. So it's, there's a sense of urgency. It's not like you can go out there and wait until somebody's tire drops or wait until your tires come in or this, you've got this many laps, go out there and do what you can. And, we kind of see it there where guys that normally in a regular race would drop off towards the end or have bad starts and kind of have to work their way. Here it's, 100% from the gate, and you have to maintain that constant push the entire time. There was a little bit of carnage in the sprint, but that I enjoyed, honestly. I thought it was interesting carnage.
Right.
But the mix was great. From 1st to 10th, you have almost every single manufacturer. You have a couple of factory teams. You have a bunch of satellite teams, and you have a mix of, everybody in the paddock. If you got Spaniards, you got Italians, you've got French, you've got Asian. Everybody's in there, man. Everybody's got, an opportunity. And I mean, realistically, there was 3 or 4 guys that could have won the race. It just Alex Marquez was able to squeak it out. Right. And I don't feel bad for Pedro Acosta. He's still getting a check. He's not getting the first place check, but he's still getting a check. And his day will come. But if his day doesn't come, that wouldn't be too bad either, because he can say I'm the greatest racer to never win a race.
Yeah. I mean, Should VR46 Academy do everything, or Ducati do everything to keep Gian Antonio for the next couple of years, or
Nah, he's out.
it's just,
He's out.
You know what I mean? Because he as he say, he's repping the yellow flag.
He's out. There's no Digi next year. Him and Acosta are not swapping positions, but he's going to KTM.
Okay, all right, no doubt. So let's talk about the main race. You know, we know the crashes happened, the restarts, and all that. Let's talk about Martin and Raul's crash. Racing incident. That's what it was ruled as. Massimo was mad at Rivia, saying, I don't know what he walked up and said. Well, check your boy. I mean, it was a quick, he said like 3 words, and Davide just kind of gave him and turned and kept it moving. Was Martin being a little bit overzealous in that race? Start with TJ.
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely a racing incident. I mean, like, this track anyway is very hard to pass, and if you do, it's gonna have to be a tight one. That corner that Raul went up under, I think Martin just ran a little bit wide, but he cut back so tight, So when that happens, I mean, we've seen that I think a couple of years ago with Mark and Pecco. It's just. I think it was a racing incident, and I just don't think Martin should react that way. I mean, obviously he sees himself fighting for the championship, so he doesn't like these type of incidents. Kind of will frustrate you, because one is your team, not your teammate, but your team, and you feel like since you're trying to win a championship, you deserve that respect. That don't pass me right here type thing. Unless it's clean, but at the end, Martin shouldn't have reacted the way he did.
Yeah,
I thought it was no penalty.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Lewis? Man, I mean, I thought that Martin, put himself in a bad position. He didn't give enough room.
He's a bitch. He expects that he can pass anybody as hard as he passes them, but he expects them to not pass him back that hard. And if you look at the pass, for me, it was a clean pass. Martin leaned back into the line that really he didn't have to hold. He thought that he would just, if he could lean into that line, that Raul would just give up the line because he's Martin. And Raul was already in the line already. Raul had a better line. And when Martin leaned into him, it actually caused Raul to have to pick the bike up because he was going to crash. And if he had crashed, then he really would have taken both of them out.
Right.
So for me, it's a Martin thing. Martin needs to stop thinking that he's the only guy riding out there that, can rough people up. If he's going to ride hard, people are going to ride hard against him, and he's got to be ready for it.
Yeah. And nobody can see him being that low. When you're rubbing your shoulder and your side on the track, who's going to see you?
Well, I said, you know what? Maybe stop worrying about the Instagram photo and worry about going fast, because people are passing your ass. While you're trying to rub your shoulder on the ground, people are passing your ass. So it might look good in photos, but if it's not actually making you go forward, it's not really doing anything for you. And then after the fact, I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but his reaction in the paddock when he got back to his garage, man, I'm not surprised that his bike caused him to crash today and he's in the hospital. Because if I'm your mechanic and you come back and you put hands on me, I guarantee you some shit's gonna go wrong with your bike next time you get on it.
Yeah, he reminds me of a kid that has an older sibling. So and the sibling is a badass. So he talks trash because he knows his older sibling's gonna come defend him. It was
nobody
like,
gonna defend him.
Like, what are you doing, man? Like, come on, I mean, I know he is connected, right? It isn't that what's his name, nephew, or whatever the case may be.
It don't matter, man. If you look and I've said, I actually spoke with somebody that I know from Aprilia, and I told him, if your company does not sanction him or fine him or do something, because tell you what, man, take racing out of it. This is a business. You're my employee. You come to work, you put hands on another one of my employees. You think you're going to stay at work that day? Right. You think you might even have a job? If he had been anybody else, man, he would be fired. If he was a mechanic that went in there and put a hand on another mechanic, he'd be out of the paddock.
Hey, Ducati fired the mechanic for coming to work late.
Exactly. But because you're Jorge Martin, you think you get special treatment. If Aprilia doesn't sanction him either with a good fine, a heavy fine, or sit his ass down for a couple of races, because that hurts more, because now you're not getting paid by any of your sponsors. You're not making any additional money. You have no opportunity, and you lose points in the championship. Now, Aprilia might not do that because they're so up their ass trying to get a championship that they would sell their soul to the devil if they thought it got a number one plate. I mean, they bought a number one plate from another manufacturer so they could put number one on their bike, and that didn't work out for them too well last year. So they would do anything to get a number one plate. But if they don't do something to sanction him, that's a problem. Right, because you are an employee of this company, and if you touch another employee of this company, there needs to be sanction. And even if Aprilia doesn't sanction him, the FIM should sanction him, because that's unprofessional. You don't want to see that in the paddock, because now you're opening the door for maybe a rider from another team to go punch a mechanic from another team in the face, or vice versa.
That only happens.
You got to nip that in the bud.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying like him to be humble, like last weekend when he was doing the Michael Jackson, just because he won back to back, and then
he was doing the
Michael quick,
Jackson, but he was doing the Michael.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, obviously he didn't have a good start to the weekend. Yeah, Catalunya is the weekend where he's known for rubbing his shoulder and stuff like that. So yeah, his mind wasn't right, and yeah, he should not react that way, especially what he's been through. Should have been humble all the way through. So yeah, it sucks that he crashed in the testing and stuff like that, but I think Lewis is absolutely correct. I mean, if you take racing out of this, and like, you're supposed to be respectful to all your employees, it's a business, and you're here to do a job, and to come back, clapping. Obviously, you're upset with the incident, but they had nothing to do with it. They don't shove people out of the way like that.
He had at least, I'm gonna say he had at least 8, maybe 9 minutes from the time the race finished to the time he got back around, pitted in, got to that area. He had more than enough time to chill out. He raced, he picked the bike up. He kept racing.
Did 12 laps.
He did 12 laps. Yeah. He had plenty of time to chill out, to kind of get back in his head game, do what he had to do. And he still opted, when he got to the garage, to throw a little temper tantrum and then put his hands on an employee, man.
Right.
If you know why? Because that employee is not from Brooklyn. Because if that dude was from Brooklyn, Jorge Martin would be knocked the fuck out in the garage. And that's why he didn't take his helmet off. Because if he had taken his helmet off, he would cut a wrench to the face, man. That's why he kept his helmet on. So even with his pressure going up, he still kept his helmet on. You know why? Because he was like, I don't put my hands on somebody, but I don't keep my helmet on so I don't get punched in the face either.
I don't want to mess up that face.
That face was looking good laying on a stretcher today.
Yeah, it was ugly. Let's talk about the main race. 2 red flags, so 3 races. KTM had a lot of issues the whole weekend. It sounds like 3 bikes had mechanical the whole weekend. I think Brad pulled in on the sprint race because of mechanical. Bastianini, I think, because of mechanical. Let me just double check.
Bastianini
on the main race, and Brad on the sprint, and then obviously Acosta, his bike cut out. Very dangerous for a bike to cut out at any speed, much less that speed. I think if it was a slower speed, it probably would have been something different, because when you look at the contact between Marquez's bike and Acosta's bike, it looked like it was just a nudge, but just going so fast, he just covered so much ground that he was already off the track.
Man,
you know what I mean?
I think that maybe, and they'll probably do it in kilometers, but I'll do it in miles an hour. In that short period of time when the bike cut off, it might have lost like 20 miles an hour.
Right.
All right. But if you think about the energy built up in 20 miles an hour with a motorcycle that weighs in at about 400 pounds coming at you 20 miles an hour faster, the way we calculated miles an hour is every mile an hour is a 1-story building. So if it's 20 miles an hour, you're dropping a motorcycle off a 20-story building.
Right.
So think about the impact force you're going to have when you drop a motorcycle off a 20-story building. If you have a 20 mile an hour difference, that's why speed differences are so dangerous. That's why you don't want, advanced guys out with beginners, because the speed differences between the two are so big. But man, I'll tell you what, I was surprised that Marquez was able to hold it up, and we'll talk about it in another segment. But this particular track is designed for maximum carnage, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they modified this track in that same corner before, I believe, right?
No, they modified it in the second to last corner, because that's where Louis Salam went off and had his big accident and passed away. So they've made modifications to this track to try to like make it safer. But one of the biggest issues with this track is turn one at the start. Every year at the start, whatever class it is, the problem with the start of this track is, if you look at turn 1 and 2, it's a right left.
Right.
Between where they start and you actually get to the braking zone, they're starting the bike so far back, because think about it, when the race finishes, they come around that last turn, and from the last turn to start finish line is not that far.
No.
But from the start finish line to turn 1 is a country mile. So if you start your race behind the start finish line, and all these bikes can get up to 300 kilometers an hour really fast, you start at 0 miles an hour, you go into turn 1, you're almost in 4th or 5th gear, even at the start. And then you're going back to 2nd or 1st gear to make the right left. So they need to move the start. They can keep the start finish line there, but they need to move the start of the bikes closer to that first turn. So guys aren't going in there in 5th gear. Maybe they get up to 3rd gear and they back it down to 2nd, and they work through first and turn 1 and turn 2.
No, they make it a rolling start.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Where would the car go though? Because the car's not going to outride unless you got a Formula One car as the pace car.
Right, that's true. That's a good point.
But then again, Liberty Media owns Formula One. Maybe that's a solution.
They'll bring the Spanish Series F1 and Let's talk about. We're still talking about the GP race. I brought the accident up to more or less saying, like, Acosta had almost a flawless weekend, pole position. I mean, he finished 2nd, but that's the best that it's the best the KTM has been running, and to lose it. I mean, what he finished 4th? I mean, he crashed out, so he even finished. He crashed out, which we'll talk about that as well. Was Iger doing too much? But I mean, was this his chance to win that? Well, I mean, he was already in 4th place when he crashed out, so it wasn't his chance. What are your thoughts, TJ, on the main race? And I mean, all the work that Acosta did in the beginning, just to watch, 3 riders pass him. 4.
I mean, for Acosta to get pole, I'm sure. I mean, I know, like, the way this weekend ended for him was not it. It's just, I mean, like, he was definitely riding that bike hard as he could. It's very good to see him up front, because, I was like, he finally got his win. But, second half of the race is hard for him to manage. But did not expect KTM to have as many issues that they did, and for it to lead down to Pedro. So to see his bike just basically blow up halfway down the straight, that was just not a good sight to see. And then lucky for him that he was able to restart the second race, just to come down to the last corner, I believe it was, close to it, and then Igor just come out of the way, and he comes flipping out of the way. And
my guy, Igor.
Surprising, like I gotta look at it. What was, like, I don't know if it really dived bomb him, because like the Jorge Martin and Raul was sort of similar. I don't know, because this was the last corner, but Igor got penalized for it. So, but it was a shit show weekend for Pedro. So,
right.
I know not liking that.
Mir rode his ass off, and as well. I didn't ask Lewis. Lewis, what are your thoughts, man, on Acosta? And before we talk about Honda,
I mean, not only did he get the pole, he got the shaft. I mean, I've never, he did so good to get pole, and it was I think 0.3 of a second was his final difference between him and second place when he got the pole.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, man, 0.3 of a second over a lap time, with so many things going on, you got to be so consistent and be at the tip of the sword. Nobody thought Alex Marquez was going to bring the race to him the way he brought it to him in the first race. Nobody thought that Alex Marquez was going to bring it to him in the second race. I mean, people were surprised that Alex Marquez was doing what he was doing. If he hadn't crashed, I would have put definitely money on Alex Marquez to beat him again, do two for two.
Right.
His day's going to come, but his day, man, he is just it's sink or swim, man. Either he's on the podium or he's in the gravel pit. And for him to get past by so many guys on the last lap and get punted off in the last corner, and again, racing incident, man, you leave the door open, somebody's going to walk through the door, and you can't really complain if you leave the door open. Everybody else knows that that's the famous spot where Valentino Rossi dove bomb on the inside of Jorge Lorenzo and stole that classic win from him, where for like 3 laps, they were literally tire to tire the entire 3 laps. And then Rossi waited to that very last corner, left the brake open a little bit later, tipped it in just a hair later, and then more on the inside because Lorenzo left the corner open. And, Acosta repeated the mistake of another famous Spaniard and left it open for another Italian to steal his dinner.
All right. Now, I will get to Honda in a little bit, but let's talk about Digia. Digia gets hit by fork, front tire, brake line. I don't know.
Brake line, triple tree, clip on, front fender.
And it's one of those weird things because it looks like it hits him on the right side, but whatever connected on his left hand, right?
Yeah.
That was the issue. Here's a guy, you don't know how much pain he's in until after the race is over because he couldn't even hold up the trophy or the champagne bottle. I mean, that's the worst thing, wanting a drink and you can't even get a drink. You know what I'm saying?
But lucky for him, it was the left hand.
Yeah, right. Lucky for him, but to go back to where Gia looked at Acosta twice, you know what I'm saying, and to see him do what he did hurt, right? I'm like, I'm not even 100. I'm doing this to you. I know you already said that he's not going to be able to stay with Ducati for next year, but it's possible that this guy could fight for the championship quietly. What are your thoughts, TJ, on Digia's ride and just the ability to ride hurt like that?
Yeah, man, it's crazy situation that he went through. I mean, that picture that they showed, just how it happened is crazy. But the adrenaline that he's probably going through, and just to ride through that, and not only to jump back on and ride, and to actually get first place. So hats off to Digi for that, because this is a guy that has been trying to get the wins, and he's been in the action, out the action, and he definitely deserves it, and he's trying to show that he deserves it. And these are the examples that we like to see to show that this guy can ride, and he's a very hard worker and stuff like that. So I give it up to Digi. It's very hard to do what he did. Getting hit by that fork flying in the air is scary. It's just as scary as the bike flying, So
yeah,
see all that, and just to have the courage to jump back on and give the same effort. Like, these guys are like superhuman for sure.
I've had just, I don't know, bolts, different things, like hit the glove, hit the shoulder, sometimes hit your neck. It's not fun to get hit by anything while on the track, much less an actual piece of a bike. It got to be crazy. Lewis, man, what are your thoughts on Digia, what he's doing, and Costa got to put some spec on his name.
I mean, Acosta definitely has to put a little respect on his name. Ducati has to, bow down to him a little bit because he is really flying. The only person flying the Ducati flag at this moment. Alex might be out for an indefinite amount of time. Marquez is out for an indefinite amount of time. Bezzecchi is doing what Bezzecchi's done for the last 18 months, not showing up when you really need him to show up. And Furman Aldeguer is still recovering from a serious, femur injury.
Yeah.
So really it's the walking wounded, it's the mentally handicapped, and it's Digi's the only guy on a Ducati that actually can put 3 corners together over and over and over.
Come on, man. Don't be talking about Pecco like that. He's not.
Pecco can't put 3 corners together if you give him a map and a pencil.
Come on, man. This is a 2-time world champion. Don't do that.
This dude folds faster than a over-caffeinated origami artist, man.
Don't do that, man. Don't do that. He's just letting you know that the bike is not. He moves like a Ferrari. He got everything has to be tuned.
Well, the dude on the Maserati on the yellow team is outdoing the dude on the Ferrari, so that's not a good look. And it's not like he doesn't have access to his data. So it's, you can't really blame the bike because everything that you need to know is on the bike. This is what this other guy's doing on the bike. You just can't seem to do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, the man got 3rd place. What are you going to do? Speaking of the 3rd place, Joan Mir. What a ride. This guy was like, look, I'm going to do like I do all the time. I'm either getting on a podium or we putting this thing in a box. What do you think? We'll start with you, Reese. What do you think of Joe Mir's ride? I mean, he did get penalized 16 seconds, which is ungodly. What's going on there? But what are your thoughts of Mir's ride?
I mean, yeah, Mir's ride was good when, half the people are crashed out or you keep restarting and you're getting bumped up places and there's nobody in front of you. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be good.
Nothing wrong with taking a test 3 times.
Yeah, but who's better, me if I take it 1 or you take it 3?
Pass. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm not going to take nothing away from what he did. Yes, what he did is phenomenal. Instead of bringing it home in a crash truck and parts and pieces. So yes, I mean that's great. So what he did was phenomenal. So hats off to him. But now, can you do that when everybody's at 100% healthy and you're not crashing in the back of the grid?
Right. And that's the biggest thing. I think, and you can tell us I'm wrong. None of you guys are putting everything on the line. So you're not saving the best tire just in case there's 2 red flags. So these guys, they're tired by the 3rd race. They were on tough tires.
Right. By the 3rd red flag, I mean, because I know in ours, you can change everything but the tires. And I think it still goes the same thing with MotoGP. You can change red flags. You can change everything but the tires. Anything you want to change, you can do. You can change, setups, anything besides the tires you can't touch. So the people out front, their tires are almost pretty much gone. They can manage it. So I mean, the people in the back, they already managed their tires a little bit weller because they weren't going. They're not pushing as hard. So.
Yeah, I think it was a little different. I don't remember if it was the first restart or second restart they could change their tires, but I think when Zarco crashed, I think it was still considered a full restart. So I think they were able to, because I think I forget who they mentioned went out on medium tires and had to struggle with having mediums versus having a 12-lap race and having some some soft tires. What are your thoughts, TJ, man, on Mir? Where he's, his riding.
Yeah, no, I agree with Reese saying that how everything happened, that where he places because of what happened. But racing is racing. Still try to shoot for the front. And to be honest, I mean, FP2 doesn't matter as much as practice to set yourself up for qualifying, but he was the top in FP2. He has been riding pretty well lately. He just can't keep the bike up. And even going into the sprint, him getting taken out by Brad Binder, I was just like, here we go again. But like you said, he had 3 opportunities to get himself to the front, and he actually did. And it sucks that he got the penalty. But I think where everything stands now, I mean, we might see a lot of different top 5s,
Yeah.
So hopefully he can get up there because Honda is improving.
Yeah, I agree. What are your thoughts, Louis, man, on Mir Honda? the penalty. I mean, I thought that was a bit much. I don't think I've seen that much. Like what he had like super glue for air. Like how he gets 16 seconds penalty where I think Pecco got like 9 seconds or something like that last year, something like that.
I would like to know if MotoGP had one of the MotoAmerica stewards go to MotoGP to levy penalties this weekend, because that shit made no sense. How do you come up with 16 seconds in a shortened race?
Yeah.
Like, it's a shortened race and you come up with, or it's a sprint race, you come up with 16 seconds in a race that's only half the distance. I mean, if you really think about it, that would be, half a second a lap for every lap that you're racing almost.
Yeah. Well, a second,
or like a quarter second a lap for every lap you're racing. That's insane. I mean, was his tire pressure 3 pounds or was his tire pressure 400 pounds? Like that's, how do you come up with this? How do you pull that number out of your ass?
Someone's like, there's no way this Honda did that. Something is wrong.
Yeah. Like
how did they calculate this?
Yeah, how do you calculate, is it a quarter second for every pound that you're off, up or down? Like, it makes no sense, man. 16 seconds is ridiculous. I think that penalty is ridiculous. I hope that when Pirelli comes in, the tire pressure rules go away, except for one specific tire pressure rule. Everybody has to be set at the same tire pressure.
Right.
You can't have less than this amount of pressure. You can't have more than this amount of pressure at the start of the race. But once the race starts, if your tire pressure goes up or down, like, you shouldn't be penalized for that.
Right. And
if you started the race and your tire was heated up to the exact amount of degrees that you need to heat them up to, and somebody checks the pressure at that moment and it's correct, that's the start. Most of these guys, from what I understand, they're using nitrogen. They're not using even air. So they're not going to get as much expansion as they would if they were just using an air compressor. So if they're using nitrogen, it's going to limit the amount of expansion you're going to get out of this tire. So you should be able to control the range. I mean, this whole rule for tire pressure came in because they had a shitty tire manufacturer that couldn't make tires that could hold their carcass or overexpand. And then they had to make these rules because all the manufacturers started putting aerodynamic devices on the back of their bike that make the air dirty and cause more heat to come onto the front of the tires, or the guy behind him causing the pressure to go up. Like, it's just a combination of a whole bunch of stuff that MotoGP just needs to fix, man. You can't keep penalizing guys. Like, dude, I got to race. I got to worry about a fucking front end hitting me. I got to worry about this dude's ignition cutting out in front of me while I'm headed at him at 280 kilometers an hour. And I got to look at my gauge for fucking 2 pounds of pressure. I'm going to get a 16-second penalty. That's some bullshit, man. I got enough shit going on this bike already.
It's pretty wild.
And you gotta look at the pit board.
And you gotta look. While the pit board is the easiest part. If it was just the pit board, I'm good with it. But bro, I'm looking at this button, that button. This light's gonna come off. Oh, I got a pit warning. Now I got a communicator going on because they want to send me information that I got a pit. I got a penalty. I got a long lap. Come on, bro. I'm here to race motorcycles.
Yeah, now they want to put radios in their helmets.
Yeah, that needs to go away. You think they're gonna? What do you think about Agura's penalty? Right, because they didn't find anything wrong with Raul and Martin. Agura got punished for taking out Acosta. It looks like he got punted back to 8th place, so he got a 4 grid position loss on that. I mean, how do you weigh that compared to being over or under with tire pressure infringement? TJ.
I don't know how it must be like the sequence of the race or something. Like, I don't know how they come up with these rules. Like, certain things happen on another rider, it's still not the same result. Like, we've seen Raul and Martin, and then obviously Pedro and Agora. And then with the tire pressure, like, I don't understand. Well, I probably could check it out, but I understand like how they get the numbers and times. But the 16-second tire pressure rule is just it's a harsher penalty, and it's something that's like more or less out of their control. Like Agora controlled that situation pretty much, knew what he was doing. So that should have been a harsher penalty, if anything. But yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't know. They're just trying to keep a player from winning. Reese, when a
Yeah.
situation like that happens, you guys get penalized either way, whether you're on the podium and you lose the podium because of a penalty, or you didn't get on the podium, or you got on the podium because someone else got a penalty. Like, how does the team look at that as a win or a loss, or lesson learned? What happens, in a situation when you lose a podium because of penalty, or gain a podium because of penalty? How does the team react?
Oh no, fuck that. We're going to protest. I mean, I'm with Lewis. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just coming to be monotonous and bullshit. I mean, it's like you don't give a penalty to Fernandez and Jorge. I mean, or Fernandez with the Jorge Martin situation, and that was more, almost more like I'm using him as a stopping versus Algora and Acosta. So it's like, kind of make sense of it, like be even across the board, and then the 16-second penalty, I mean, that's just absurd. 16 seconds for a tire pressure. It's like, I got to look at this, and this. Do you want me to race, or do you want me to, be a pilot and look at every freaking gauge?
No, it's very it's very difficult. Hopefully they'll get it worked out, man. If not, we're gonna keep talking about it. I think
Don't you have to slow down?
Huh?
Don't you have to slow down to cool off the tires, to reduce the tire pressure? Don't you have to get out?
You either get out from behind somebody so that they're not throwing hot air at you. So you need to get clean air. So either you need to slow down to let the person in front of you kind of go ahead, or you need to get in front and get clean air on your tire that can cool your tire down.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We don't want that. We don't want no one to slow down. I mean, we've seen, obviously Pedro's bike cut out, but we've seen what happens. Like, he just try to slow down,
Yeah. All right, man.
Right, because as soon as you get clean air, it cools it down.
Yeah,
for sure. We'll go back to MotoGP when it comes to the numbers. I mean, unless you want to talk about something before we get into MotoAmerica, we and we haven't even touched WorldSBK yet, but let's talk.
We don't need to. We know who won, so
yeah,
ain't nothing happened, bro. Like, I think he's.
But we still got to give Garrett. You still got to give Garrett.
Yeah.
You still got to give your American rider Garrett all his props. He did well for being over there.
You know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about his ride. I think he did a 5.74 for the weekend. Amazing ride. We've been talking about Kawasaki needed to do something. I think they're listening to us guys, because the factory team finally beat the hybrid team. Which is pretty impressive. I do hope that Garrett stays another year. And if he can finish the rest of the season being the best manufacturer next to Ducati, he's not a bad look either, especially having one bike on the grid. What are your thoughts, TJ, on what Garrett did in World Superbike?
I mean, from the start of the year, or even last year into now, from being in the back of the pack, where you can finally say that he's improving, and you see it because now he's starting to show himself in top 10 area, and just to finish 5th, 7th, and I forget the other position, but he's doing some good things. He's doing some good things. It's really good to see an American rider step forth and do what he's doing. So, I mean, hopefully, I don't know what team, if he's still, we're going to be with Kawasaki going forward, but hopefully his performance will get him a even better ride in the future.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Lewis is a little bit frozen. I don't know what's up with that, but we'll get him sorted out in a minute. Reese, what's up, man? Did you message your boy? You got on the podium. He got close to getting on the podium. Were you texting Garrett?
I haven't tested Gary yet, but I sure enough will come in here soon to say congrats, and because he did wish me a happy birthday, so I do got to send a message back out to him. Congratulations on that, on putting that bike in the top 5 and doing what he did. I mean, he did get P1 in one of the sessions, so to do that and be struggling and now putting it up there in the top 10 is very impressive. I didn't see the race, but I did see some of the highlights. I had a lot of words from other people on what he did. And, from what I saw and what I hear, I mean, the guy rode his butt off. I mean, he's working well with his old crew chief, and I think that's what he needed. to come back into play. So hopefully he can continue on his momentum.
Right. Lewis, you texting him right now, telling him stay another 2 years in World Superbike? What's good?
Nah. I mean, I think he's doing well enough that he'll get another ride, even if he doesn't stay with Kawasaki. Because again, we don't know Kawasaki's long-term goal here. I think they want to continue to support somebody because they really should stay in road racing. I mean, if they completely leave road racing, they're not relevant in MotoGP because they're not there. They're barely relevant in World Superbike because they're not there. They're not relevant in Super Sport because they're not there. I mean, do they even want to sell sport bikes at this point? Because even here in the US, I mean, I looked at the grid last week. I didn't see a Kawasaki.
I know, right? Why not? Why is there not a 636?
I mean, I don't know, but there's not even a nothing.
It's got the worst contingency package.
Yeah, but contingency. I mean, at some point you got to decide: do you want to sell sport bike or not? And if you don't want to sell sport bikes, then this is the route that they're going. This is the path that they're going down. If Garrett Gerloff is the last stand of Kawasaki, the great Kawasaki that dominated the World Superbike for so many years, then I hope Garrett gets another job with another team that's actually invested in trying to be a participant and win. Because it's one thing to participate. It's another thing to actively want to win and develop and invest money. Right. And if I'm a racer, I mean, I really, every weekend you put your helmet on, you want to believe there's a chance you can win. But if every week you get on a shit box, in the back of your mind, as much as you can rah, and I think I'm going to do it this weekend, you're also knowing, hey, man, I'm, 1.1 seconds slower than this bike on any given weekend. I'm, 3/4 of a second lower than this bike. This other bike has this, and this that I don't have on this bike. I haven't gotten a new part from my manufacturer in 8 months. All that weighs on you, man, as a rider. So if he can't, if he can do what he can do on this Kawasaki at a few select tracks that he's strong at, great. But he needs to either get Kawasaki to commit to actually do something if he can do that, or start shopping your wares. I hear BMW's got an open spot.
Man, cold as ice, Lewis.
Cold
as ice.
I don't even wait for the chair to get cold.
Jesus Christ.
You're up. Listen, guys, I mean, this is the third round of MotoAmerica, Barber Motor Park. If you have not been to this racetrack, you have to go. It's probably the best looking racetrack on the U.S. circuit. After talking to some folks on the weekend, and Lewis and I were chopping up a little bit, it sounds like the Be Forever Cool podcast is bringing out people to go watch racing, because it sounds like it was a good turnout and the baggers wasn't there and we were there, so it had to have been us. We're the other B.
There's no other reason to go.
No other reason.
No other reason but us. TJ, what are your thoughts on the weekend? I don't know how much you caught, and what are your thoughts on the weekend in MotoAmerica?
I thought it was a pretty cool weekend. I mean, I caught a little bit of it. You see, obviously there was carnage that happened, but we'll start with the super sport. I mean, just looking at Kayla did really well. She got a pole, and I think she got one recently, and she's doing really well, and she's almost due for a win.
Yeah.
So she's almost due for a win, and just when we're talking about the red flags, just throws off momentum. Like, I know she was just feeling that, but racing's racing. So that was exciting to see those super sport races and the superbike. Just that boy Matthew Scholes, man, he's just in another gear, it seems like, and people are chasing him. But it was good to see the Yamahas be up there too, and JD Beach working hard and stuff like that. So overall, it's a good weekend. So I enjoy it as much as I can see it.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, when I got to Road Atlanta, so really outside of Daytona was my first MotoAmerica attendant race, and I thought it was packed there. And then going to Barber and seeing the crowd there and stuff like that, and people are coming out. So what are your thoughts, Reese? You're there in the heat. You see, everyone's there, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was good times. I mean, I looked across the way into the tree line that everybody hides out in, and that tree line on Saturday was, I mean, it was long. I mean, Saturday it looked more for Saturday than Sunday, but I know Saturday was packed, and then Sunday had a good turnout too. I mean, I'm glad to see people coming back out. I'm glad to see the fans enjoying what we do, and trying to keep the sport alive and keep it going. Because without those fans, without these people coming, I mean, we can't do nothing. We can't do what we do. So I mean, I appreciate every fan and everybody that comes out.
Yeah, we just hanging out, talking shop, waiting for somebody to start a bike if the fans don't show up.
Pretty much, man. I mean, but like TJ said, I mean, the weekend was good. It was an overall good weekend. I mean, the way it started for us, I mean, it was a little rough, a little shaky in the beginning, but we turned it around. I mean, we got, 2 top 5 finishes on each race. So we'll take it. I mean, right now we're sitting 3rd and 4th in the overall standings. I mean, we knew coming in 2 rounds, this is Matthew's home backyard. He's going to be strong, which he was. So now we go to WorldAmerica. The Ducatis and
Saw the crowd there.
God,
Thoughts?
No, I mean, you and I had the same conversation. I mean, on Friday there was a decent amount of people for Friday, but on Saturday I was really surprised when we looked out across from the pit side of the track to the outside where like the fan zone was, and it was just everybody under the trees, just all around the outside perimeter of the track. I'm like, wow, this is a lot of people here for for a Saturday, and 2 for an event that doesn't feature baggers, because usually baggers will get more people out. So just with the classes that we had there, I mean, I didn't do a head count. I didn't have time. I was going to try to walk around, do a head count, but people didn't want to participate. But I definitely can tell you that this is the most people that I've seen in Barber in a very long time.
Nice.
And it was a great weekend too. The weather was spot on. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. Knock on wood, it didn't rain. Like, it was possibly one of the best weather weekends at Barber in a long time also, because we've had really iffy weather at Barber the last couple of years, drizzle, rain, it's been a little bit of a mess. And they actually got a great show, even with all the red flags and everything else. The racing this weekend was amazing. Even if somebody did, stretch the field out, like there was a couple of riders that just, for some reason, man, it's like this track just was home to them. They were just doing stuff on the track where I was like, yo, well, man, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Nobody's supposed to win at this track by 8 seconds. Nobody's supposed to like drift all of Charlotte's Web. Like, what are you doing, bro? Why are you sideways? Like, you're supposed to high side. And it's like there was dudes out there just making this weekend so much fun, man. And everybody was, I'm interested to see the kind of numbers that MotoAmerica releases for the actual attendance, because there were a lot of people there on Saturday and even more people there on Sunday.
That's what we want, man. That's what we want. Let's talk about Kayla. She got pole position in the Super Sport. I believe she got 3rd place on Saturday, 2nd place on Sunday, led on Sunday for a bunch. And some restarts, and Bender was able to. Was it Bender that won both? I refresh my memory now.
Yeah, he won one.
He won one.
Heron and
one.
Heron won on Saturday, and Bender won on Sunday.
Yeah. Pretty crazy race. For we were talking earlier about Acosta wanting to win, and I heard it more in Kayla's voice, how she didn't want to get that 2nd place. Acosta doesn't tell you how he, like Ken Unchu, Dennis Unchu, those guys, the 2nd place is like last place to them, and like. What does it mean for Kayla getting 2 pole positions in a row, and fighting? I mean, we talked about last year when she was top 6. Like her next step would be to be where she's at now, and she's doing that. So, what are your thoughts, TJ, on her getting pole position? And like, she's a force, and she's 18.
Yeah, I was about to say she's 18 years old, and she's getting pole position. And she's a female out there battling with guys. I mean, when you're on the bike, you know how to ride. That's what matters the most. but she is definitely improving. And to see her battle at the front with all the top guys like Dan Bender, Josh Herron, and just going back and forth with different lines, and you know she'll undercut them, and just the drive that she has, and to have the red flags and still able to hold her own in the front. Yeah, with the drafting and stuff that pulled it back a little bit, but still able to come out with the podium on the podium. So overall, really great to see that, and it's good for the sport. And hopefully, we have gotten a lot more females into the sport as well. So it's definitely a good look.
Yeah, I mean, Reese, man, what do you think Darren Bender and Brad Bender's conversation is like? Is Brad like, is she really that fast? I mean, because I remember playing, basketball as a kid. They had leagues and stuff like that. I knew a couple of, females at different times that played on the boys' team because they were just that nice, and there weren't any female teams there weren't any female teams I think back then, much less even be competitive. So they had to lace up with the boys and play if they wanted to play. What do you think that conversation is like for Darren and Brad, man? Because Kayla is nice.
Are you really that slow? Like, are you really that slow? Like, no wonder you're not in Moto 2 no more. No, I'm joking.
Probably some teasing, right?
Oh, it's gotta be, because I'm teasing the hell out of you if you getting beat like that, like, or getting undercut and everything else. But no, I mean, it could be some good conversations. I mean, same way when Tony Elias was here, he went back and told everybody, hey, these people over here they are serious and they are fast. So, it could go both ways. So I'm kind of curious and wonder how that kind of conversation will go myself.
No doubt, no doubt. What are your thoughts on how Kayla is doing?
My thoughts, she is definitely coming along. She is definitely ready for a breakout for her first win. And I honestly believe it's coming here soon. I think it may actually, if she does the same thing she did, at coming here at Road America, I think she may get one.
Right. Do you think she got a, I don't know if you must remember young Kobe, trying to go against Mike and all these guys. I mean, she's still young. I mean, and it's not taking anything away from young people, but there has to be somebody in our camp just to say, hey, be patient. This guy got 10 years on you being a pro. This other person been in MotoGP, World, Moto 2 and Moto 3. They're going to have a little something. Not to say you're not there, but, you need to give yourself a little grace.
I mean, she does have that in her camp. She has Ben Speed sitting right there. I mean, so she has that in her camp. And Ben has been there, at a young age, wanting to win, wanting to do this against, Matt Malatin. So she has it, but she's hungry and she's ready to let loose.
Yeah, I agree, man. Lewis, what are your thoughts on her? And is she going to stick around another year in Super Sport, or is she going to be looking to go to the big fight?
If anybody is managing her, they got to tell her to stay at Super Sport a year, maybe even 2 years. Anybody that tells her she needs to go to the big bike today needs to get pushed out of her career completely, because they're just giving her bad advice. If you look at the guys that are in the front in Superbike, they've got experience, they've got racecraft, they've got a lot of things going for her. Like, she's coming along really, really well in Super Sport, but whoever's managing her, whoever's guiding her, needs to pace her just the right way, because there's still a lot that she can learn in Super Sport. And there's still a lot of top quality competition in Super Sport. And if she can become regularly winning regularly at the front in Super Sport, then you make the jump to Superbike. You don't just make the jump to Superbike because you're today's hot commodity, because you're something that somebody wants to write about. You want somebody, people want to say this and that. Take the female equation out of it. If she was any other rider, if she was a guy, and she would only finished on the podium for the first time this weekend, let's say, even though she finished in the podium a couple of times last year, you've had maybe like 4 or 5 podium finishes in Super Sport in the 2 years that you've been there. Nobody would be talking about, hey, this person has to go to Superbike.
Right.
They'd be like, hey, get your racecraft right here. be super competitive here, show how competitive you are here, and then start looking for a ride in Superbike. And so, I like to look at everybody on the same page. So take the female equation out of it. If she was just another guy on a super sport, nobody would be telling her, hey, let's try to get her on a Superbike right away. You look at somebody like Ty Scott. Ty Scott has been in super sport now so long that his porn mustache is actually coming back into style. All right. And that dude can ride.
You can.
And if anybody should have made a jump from super sport to Superbike, is him. But because he's on a Gixxer that's not super competitive, people sometimes overlook the quality of rider is. The dude can ride the wheels off a bike. He just hasn't had the opportunity to get on a Superbike. But if somebody told me, hey, between Ty Scott and Kayla Yakov, who you want in your Superbike, I'm gonna be like, yo, Ty Scott all day. He's got more experience. He's got more pedigree. He's been doing it longer. He can jump to Superbike and probably be competitive on the right bike pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And this is what you got to look at. You just got to take the female. I know everybody wants to jump on that because it's a novelty, but she's not a novelty, man. She's a talent. And she's got to ride like a talent. She's got to prove herself just like anyone else as a talent and then go to Superbike. And when she goes to Superbike, it's got to be with the right team, man. It can't be with just anybody that offers her a Superbike ride because we see how that destroys careers, man. There's a couple of guys in Superbike right now that are on complete shitbox rides. And you know that these guys can ride, but they can't even get through the weekend without flipping off their bike or their bike trying to kill them. Or they can't make a corner because it starts chattering in turn 1. It doesn't stop chattering until turn 7.
They call him by Christine because it's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Straight.
So exactly. So don't rush to leave a great team to go on an awkward team just because you want to go to Superbike. Stay with the Ray Hall team. She's going to get great experience there. She's going to get way better at her racecraft. She's going to win some races. There's no doubt about it, dude. She's going to win some races. I mean, if she keeps going the way she's going now, I would even put some money down that she has an opportunity to win the Daytona next year.
Oh, wow. I mean, she finished
on
the thing. So
hold it. It's under here. It's underneath my mat. Hold on.
Oh, come on, man. You need a shovel. It's further than that. It's further than that, man. We want the whole bag.
I got to go under the table for that.
You mentioned Ty Scott, amazing rider. We love seeing him at Loudon when he's been there. What a finish! I mean, it was only third for him and Heron, but what a finish! If there was nobody there to see that race, Heron would have said he won. Did you see the finish, TJ? The Super Sport race on Sunday.
Was that? Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Did you see the Super Sport race on Sunday with the photo finish for third place between Scott?
No, I didn't see I didn't see the race too. I mean, I saw the highlights, but I didn't see the finish.
Yeah, whoever had the longer spring arm won. What are your thoughts, Reese, on that on the race on Sunday? It was very impressive. I mean, Bender was a good battle.
I mean, that whole Super Sport race was top notch from Kayla to Darren to Heron to Ty Scott. I mean, that was a show. That was hella impressive. I was out there watching it on the screen, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're back and forth all the way. Yeah. I think it's gonna be a good season.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, I think it's really it's going to be a really great season, and the battle back and forth between those riders. I mean, I got to say for Heron, and you see it in the experience because he's a guy that made mistakes and kept it cool and still was able to fight for the podium. Where I think some of these other riders, they made mistakes and they dropped further back.
Yeah, I mean, Heron has the experience, like we said. It's his championship to lose. I mean, but the way Darren Bender's riding, I mean, he's making a statement right now.
I'm taking your lunch money.
Exactly. He's like, I'm coming to take this money and take this championship home. I can't win it over here in Moto2 or MotoGP, so I'm going to win it here.
Yeah. It's interesting, when you just want to win. Louis, what are your thoughts on that finish, the race too?
The finish was, every photo finish is always great to see. Ty Scott came from a long way back at the end of that race, man. Like people don't realize, like my man was not like a second behind Josh Herrin. He was like a country mile behind Josh Herrin. Like nobody really thought he was going to close the gap and be able to take third. And for him to close the gap, finally get in there, the very last, long left-hander, set himself up and win more than anything else, win the dash from the last corner to the line on a GSXR that's 18 years old against a brand new Ducati V2. Maybe that mustache gave him a little bit of extra, 1/2 horsepower. I don't know what it is, but I love the fact that he was able to battle and compete, and the entire super sport class was great. And I also got to tip my hat to Darren Binder, because you got to remember, this is a guy, yes, he's very fast and everything else. It's the first time he's riding this track, dude.
Yeah.
You're talking about Josh Herrin that's ridden this track for like 72 years. This track is, I think, a few hours from his family's compound. So this is probably the track. This track and that Road Atlanta might be the two tracks that he's ridden more than any other tracks in the world. And here comes
but
Darren.
Never ridden on those tires neither.
And never ridden on those tires, never been to this track, on a new team, on a new bike, everything else, and fighting for the podium day one. Right. So once this guy kind of sorts out a couple of things, I mean, he's no slouch. He didn't come here from Moto2 as like the worst Moto2 rider. I mean, he wasn't the best at the end, but he wasn't on great teams. Right. But there's a reason why he was in Moto3 and Moto2 and MotoGP. Dude could ride.
Yeah. And from what I can tell, I haven't met him in person, but like he seems like a humble dude. He seems like he's walking around and he'll chop it up with people. He's not being standoffish or anything like that, which, if I was in MotoGP, Moto2 and all that, you'll be carrying me around like, Dave Chappelle did a P. Diddy skit.
There's people in the hooligans class in MotoAmerica that walk around like that, like, yo, my man, I can't talk to you. My man, you riding a shitbox hooligan bike, man. You better relax. The only time you've been on a MotoGP grid is when somebody gave you a pit pass. Like this dude's actually been on a MotoGP in his leathers on a bike, so you need to just chill out. And same thing, I saw him walking around. People would walk up to him, super personable, take pictures. They throw a mic in front of him. He's more than happy to talk about, how happy he is here to be in the U.S. It's a different experience, different way of life, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's great to see something like that, man. So I hope the dude keeps putting it together week after week, because he just adds an extra spice. Maybe this is the guy that keeps Josh Herrin from just running away with it and actually keeps him honest the entire year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be him and Kayla for sure. Maybe even Scott, because, all it takes is one of these podium to change, to fight, put a little bit more energy in that battery of yours. You know what I'm saying?
I need to see that stash on the top step, man.
November, man. Is it November mustache and beard month? We'll get you grown one.
Louis. Yeah. What is it? No shave November?
Something like that. We'll get you out there. We'll get advice from Ty Scott how he gets it all.
I'll tell you what, if I try to grow one, mine would look just like Ty Scott's.
like a porn?
Like a dead caterpillar on my upper lip.
Yo, harsh.
I did hear Tyler talk about some of the restrictions that the Suzuki had at this track. I don't know how much that affected, but I know everyone has their restrictions.
Oh, I can imagine that 750 is not wide open because it's not wide. They need to let it loose. And I can't imagine how difficult that is to have a motorcycle or any vehicle it's restricted. It's like, man, I can only play ball with one hand behind my back. Come on, man, let me loose.
Like if you took a 750, if you take a 600 and you build out the motor, you could get 130, maybe 135 horsepower out of a 600. You take a 750 and you take the gloves off, man, you get like 160 horsepower that thing.
Yeah.
And they probably restricted him to probably 130 something horsepower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's talking about how the V2s were just taking him out of the corners, and then he'll have to try so hard, and You have to, his corner entries where he has to worry, trying to catch up.
Yeah,
So,
he's gonna have to
but
carry more corner entry because he got to make it up
yeah,
on the exit.
yeah,
The twins is just in the right power band on the twins and the triples. The F4, you got to wind that more up.
Yeah.
For real.
It's tough. Let's talk about Superbike guys. I mean, like you mentioned, Reese, and you're fourth and fifth. It was anybody's game though, TJ. For the Superbike class. I mean, it was kind of wild. What are your thoughts?
yeah. I mean, like definitely anyone's game. I mean, like the way Skull's pulled out, obviously he's on another level, but I was just trying to watch the Bobby Fong and JD Beach battle it out, and it's good to see how JD's riding, and Orange Cat as well. But I thought it was a good race one, um, and yeah, I thought it was a good race one. I didn't see all the highlights of it, unfortunately, but it was good to see that Yamaha got on top step. I'm rooting for Yamaha to pull it out this year, and interesting to see that JD Beach is now, ahead of his teammates. So that's interesting as well. But
Yeah. I mean, what's up with that race, man? I mean, it's tricky. We talked about a little bit before the season start. Bobby came in last year. Didn't think we in the beginning of the season, didn't know he'll be fighting for the championship. Turns out that he is now. He has a new teammate. His teammates, kind of outdo him a little bit. How's that? I see you getting a photograph, so it's good for you. What's it like right now?
I mean, it's the same business as usual. I mean, everyone's trying to figure out their way, figure out their setup for this year. I mean, everybody comes in a little different every year. So, Bobby, they missed a little bit of setup, and he's trying to come in now and to figure out a certain thing and just put it all together. JD figured out something that he can do, and him and the crew chief is working really well together. So we'll see what happens here. I mean, we're like, correction, we are sitting 3 and 4 in the championship.
My
So
bad.
we'll take it. We'll take that.
Okay, all right, that's what's up. Lewis, what did Reese get wrong in all what he just said?
No, he didn't say anything wrong. I know Bobby's been struggling trying to find the right feel with the 2026 bike. I know there's some changes that were made to the bike that have, taken away some of the strengths that he had last year, and he's trying to work around some of those. I know that he's struggled with front end feel more than anything else this year, even in the preseason and practice. And in testing, I think he's had more issues this year than he had before. He has nothing negative to say about the bike. He just doesn't have the feel that he had last year. And they're trying to find the right setup to make him get comfortable again. Because, Bobby's riding style is very, very unique. He loves to take very small, tight corners. He likes to keep the braking, keep the actual turn as small as possible, as short. So he'll take corner angles that other people won't take, whereas most people try to open them up a little bit. He actually tries to reduce the corner, maximum lean, and get right back on a tire, where some people might carry a little bit less lean for a longer period of time. Bobby will go in there on the brakes, try to lean it maximum, get the corner done as quickly as possible, get back on the gas. And if you don't have front end feel, because you're really riding the front end really, really hard to try to make a bike turn like that, you do kind of lose some confidence. And this particular round, I mean, he was doing well, but I think the restart in the one race really screwed him up, because before the restart, he was going pretty strong. And then after the restart, I mean, his tire started spinning in turn 1 and didn't start spinning in turn 5 until turn 5. I mean, coming out of going up and over turn 1 into turn 2, starting to drive up to Charlotte's Web, from the time he would bottom out the bike and get on the gas, I mean, it was just leaving a dark mark all the way up the hill, all the way. As soon as he crested, he's coming down the hill. And as soon as he finished Charlotte's Web and got back on the gas, I mean, he's doing a burnout coming out of Charlotte's Web. Anytime he had to get back on the gas, it's the rear tire was just spinning. And you could see, like, the other guys that maybe their heat cycle was a little bit better during the red flag or whatever, didn't have as much degradation in the tire. they started to run him down really quickly because he just couldn't get drive out of any of these corners. And again, he's trying to do what he can, but there's no one to blame in that situation. You had to restart. You're using the same tire. You have this, you have that. I mean, it's kind of like you kind of have to, ride the horse that brought you here. And, if it can't make it to the finish line, just try to get it across the finish line in the best spot possible. And that's what he did. He tried to, minimize the damage, get as many points. Everybody knows, like Reese said before, Barber is Matthew Schultz, one of his best tracks. But, now we're going to go to a couple of tracks where other people have some more strength, where the Ducatis are going to be able to stretch their legs a little bit more. We're going to see a little bit of a different mix when we go to these next tracks.
Okay. All right. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think we could go on, but we're already in the hour, 30 plus minutes time zone. So let's talk about the leaderboard this past weekend, round 6 of MotoGP. I forget who I picked, but I picked all Aprilia guys, and Jorge Martin kind of jacked me up. But nonetheless, this is what it's looking at for round 6 weekend. I mean, not bad, Reese. You got some good numbers.
Who'd you pick?
I don't remember what.
So you can hear it. You can see who. Here it is. Where we at? Round there, the points. So points don't look too bad. I mean, Reese, at least you get in second place, Reese. There you go. That's what's up. You're at 284 points at the moment. TJ's at 253. Lewis is at 237, and still leading at 317. I'll take it. It's these things can change on a dime. Not bad though, guys. Not bad.
We'll see what happens next time.
Yeah, I'm sure you got your board out.
Before we get out, I want to give a quick little shout out to 2 guys this weekend. One guy in particular, because he had an amazing weekend, and that was my boy Gus Rodeo. I think if Netflix is going to do like a Rocky story for motorcycle racing, it needs to be the Gus Rodeo story for the last 2 years, because what he did this weekend really showed like what perseverance is all about. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, he did amazing on the Twins Cup, won the championship on the Twins Cup, everything else. Last year, moved up to Super Sport, and after 2 rounds, he kind of lost his ride, wasn't able to do any more rounds, was out of racing altogether, just doing regional stuff, things like that. Didn't have a package, didn't have a program, went back to his full-time day job, doing wraps and vinyl stickers on cars and doing stickers in general for bikes and stuff like that. And then this off season, he kind of came across a salvage title Street Fighter V2. And when he found out that MotoAmerica was going to allow the Ducati Street Fighter V2 to be a hooligan's bike, he went out and bought this thing at a junkyard with a salvage title, put it together to go racing. And at Daytona, he had a great showing, considering it was his first time really racing the bike ever. And then this weekend here at Barber, I mean, he did the double again on a bike that nobody wanted because it was a salvage title junk bike, with a rider that nobody wanted because he couldn't get a ride. So he put together his own package, went out and did the double, and is showing people that he's got a ton of talent. And I got to be, I would be honest with you, I really enjoyed watching him ride this weekend because, I mean, watching him drift that bike around and doing what he was doing and battling with guys he's never battled before. I mean, he battled with Josh Herron while he was on the electric bike. And that's another crew I want to give a shout out to, man. The Light Fighter guys putting together an electric bike. Nobody gave them even a shot, and they finished pretty well in the second race. They learned a lot between Daytona and the first race. And I think at some of these rounds, you're going to be surprised, man. There might be an electric bike on the top step of the podium. I give those guys, big kudos, and I hope to see what they can do, man. I think it's exciting to have a Ducati, an electric bike, and a Harley all on the same podium. I never thought I would say that in my life.
I'll leave it there. I'm done with the analogies for tonight. It was pretty good to see, and it's always, as we've talked about many times, on the show how difficult it is for some riders to get rides, keep rides, and all that stuff. We know riders that want a ride that can't get a ride. So to be able to do that, get a ride, and then turn around and you're winning. Hopefully this turns into something even better for him. I'm looking forward to the next round, and I love them Ducatis.
Ducatis.
Reese dropped off before we could talk more about that, but
he don't want to talk Ducatis anyway.
We'll talk more next week about the troubles with the Ducatis in MotoAmerica, because it seems like they're having a tougher time than some of the other manufacturers. But we'll save that for next week. My name is Rex45. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. We got TJ with 2 wheels and coffee. We got the real Luis Ortega, the numbers guy. We got Reese with a Taki Yamaha. It's his birthday, so he could be blowing out a cake or something like that wherever he's at in the world. Peace.
Peace.